On 2nd December 2021, Kikuyu gospel singer Sammy Boy, whose real name is Samuel Madhenge Mwaneki, was convicted to death by hanging after he was found guilty of robbery with violence. However, he will not be hanged because Kenya does not execute convicts. Death penalty is usually commuted to life imprisonment. Sammy Boy is currently serving his life imprisonment at the Naivasha Maximum Security Prison. Sammy Boy became popular in 2014 following his hit song No Era 2. Many of his fans still find it hard to believe that Sammy Boy is a criminal. This after his story was aired by Inoro TV's Simon Kibe on Jeraine Shito. In the interview, Sammy Boy argued his innocence, claiming that he only handled stolen items without knowing, but he was not a thug and has never been involved in any robbery. According to Sammy Boy, he said that he was caught with stolen items which had been given by his friend, who later died, leaving him with the whole burden to carry by himself. However, a witness came out to expose Sammy Boy as a notorious thug. He revealed that the singer was involved in multiple robberies. He added that Sammy Boy's friends were killed along Thika Road for robbery. In the eyes of the law, Sammy Boy is a dangerous criminal who has no place in the society. Sammy Boy was convicted by Chief Magistrate Kennedy Bidali, who found him guilty of robbery with violence. According to the Daily Nation, the court documents show that on the night of 6 August 2015, a gang of 6 held at gunpoint a family of British investors and their Kenyan staff in an attack at their home in Gilgil, Nakuru County. Sammy Boy was identified as one of the gangsters who took part in the 6-hour siege at Malewa Bush Ventures camp in Gilgil. The British investors was the camp's director, Christine Mary Campbell, and husband Christopher Edward Campbell. According to their testimonies, Sammy Boy and his gang broke into the home at around 8 p.m. The gang were armed with a rifle, a pistol, and knives for the robbery. They then tied up the workers and the owners before they proceeded to rob them their phones, jewelry, and valuables. The robbers were not wearing masks at the time. At some point, they even identified themselves as Al-Shabaab. The gang stashed their loot into 2 vehicles belonging to the Campbells. They took cash, electronics including laptops, tablets, gas, and a guitar. At around midnight, the victims were bundled into the boots of the 2 vehicles, both Toyota Prados. The gang then started driving towards Langalanga before stopping. They stayed at the spot for about 2 hours as they negotiated how they split their loot. At around 2 a.m., the gang entered one vehicle and drove off, but not before deflating the 2 tires of the other vehicle and throwing away the ignition keys. One of the workers reported the matter to Gilgil police station. The police then initiated a manhunt for the gang that drove towards Nairobi. 5 days later, the police managed to track down the stolen items to Kino on the outskirts of Nairobi. On 12 August 2015, Sammy Boy was arrested after being found with stolen items. They were stashed in a minivan which is reported had been hired 3 days before on 9th August by Sammy Boy. Even though Sammy Boy claimed the items belonged to a friend, the police managed to uncover that he had hired the van from Mr. Sammy Gonjiri, who runs a rental car business in Kino. Sammy Boy had deposited copies of his ID with the car hire service, saying that he needed to go to Nyeri. After Sammy Boy failed to return the vehicle on 11 August 2015, Mr. Gonjiri was worried. However, he later learned that it had been impounded in connection to a robbery case and taken to Gilgil police station. Sammy Boy was charged with robbery with violence alongside Simon Mwangi Nguyai, Robert Mwirigi Mureithi aka Keva, Elias Kirithi Gishuki, Paul Thuita Washira, and Anthony Ndaiga Wandu. At the court, Sammy Boy still insisted the items belonged to his friend. However, he never made any attempt through the court to have the friend compelled to give his testimony. Sammy Boy claimed the friend, identified as Onesmus Karanja, is reported to have died a few years ago in a road accident. However, the friend raised red flags among police in Nyeri as it turned out that Onesmus Karanja was one of Sammy's Boy's accomplices alias Kirithi Gishuki, who was profiled as one of the Central Kenya's most wanted criminals between 2017 and 2019. He was gunned down by police in a shootout during a botched robbery at Blue Valley area in Nyeri town on 10th October 2019. During the robbery, Kirithi was said to have been in the company of Paul Thuita Wachira. The two were at the time on trial for the Gilgil robbery but had skipped bond and absconded court appearances. Thuita is still at large. The 4 victims positively identified Sammy Boy and placed him at the crime scene, which convinced the court to send him to prison. One of the suspects, Anthony Ndaiga Wandu, was acquitted for lack of sufficient evidence against him. Sammy Boy, Robert Mwirigi Mureithi, and Simon Guyai were all handed the death sentence on 2nd December 2021. Elias Kirithi, deceased, and Paul Thuita were also convicted and sentenced in absentia. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, or share.